Call meeting to order at the roll.
Yes, sir. Nolly Bond. Here. Alex Bissett.
Here.
Dan Gritsko.
Here.
Ron Smith.
Here.
Bill Hudson.
Here.
Walter Townsend.
Here.
Roger Whitley.
Here.
Thank you.
Good. So let's, last thing is you stand, we'll have a pledge. Pledge allegiance.
States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and all.
Okay, anybody have any problem with the agenda of this?
We have an amendment to the agenda, I can talk about it during this, administrators, delivery, but it's sort of about the website. I don't know if you want to, it's commented in my report.
Yeah, this is kind of new, more than anything else. Modify the agenda.
All right, perfect, thank you.
The consent agenda is, approval of the minutes for February 4th. That was a special session we had. The, work session minutes from February 9th and the January 12th, council work session minutes. So a motion to approve the consent agenda. So second.
Second.
Any discussion, all in favor? It's pain. We got the floor, so.
Mr. Mayor, council, and staff. You may already be familiar with the current campaign to get a pharmacy back in Scottsville. I want to start by thanking the heartbeat of this effort, the residents of the greater Scottsville area. Also, my thanks go to the businesses of the Chamber of Commerce and especially to Elizabeth Ave and Whitney Wade, who put up with my presence in the office and assisted me in preparing the documents needed for this effort. Citizens of Scottsville, your advocacy was not in vain. Your support turned a local problem into a statewide conversation. Because of you, Scottsville is now the face of the rural pharmacy crisis in Virginia. This time, I'd like to share two short videos I think might be helpful.
For many in the town of Scottsville, the go-to pharmacy was this Friday. That's where Dr. Richard Joyce with Scottsville Family Medicine often sent his patients.
Often be crying medicines there and often acute medicines like selective cold, sore throat, sinus infection, and when something started today.
That was until the Rite Aid closed its doors for good on Thursday, a decision some are just finding out about.
And I had to go to the Allport store, so I thought, well, maybe I'll just, tool around and, Friday, because, I like to look around and find the sales and whatnot, but I noticed it was closed.
Instead of coming to this Rite Aid in Scottsville, customers can pick up their prescription at another location directed by this sign on the door. That other location is in Chester, Virginia, nearly an hour and a half away.
That doesn't give a lot of people a lot of options.
Scottsville Mayor Ron Smith says the town is frantically searching for a solution. Customers could have their prescriptions mailed. That too is not without concerns.
Some say, I've been doing it for 10 years and I've never had a problem. Others say, I'll get my prescription and it won't be the right one or half of it's missing.
Smith says the town is looking into ways to get a new pharmacy up and running.
Right now, it's just sort of a wait and see.
In the meantime, Dr. Joyce says he's worried about how his patients will get the medication they need with the next closest pharmacy more than 15 miles away.
And there are often who do not have a car, or they don't have anyone to take them somewhere or get their medicine.
In Scottsville, Maddie Class, 29 News.
Its windows have been its windows have been shattered by the rising water. It was a moment for action being recalled. Kind of like my friend paddled their canoe right through the front of Bruce's drugstore. The year was 1969, and Hurricane Camille was quickly submerging Scottsville's downtown. Payne had already lost his sneakers unbolting church pews from the floor to try to save them. He also wanted to rescue photos from the drugstore, where plate glass windows had been shattered by the rising water. It was the moment for action being recalled. Kind of like him.
But you can't sit back and wait, you gotta do something. And that's what I'm trying to do now.
Today, Payne is 73 and wants to save Scottsville again, this time by bringing back a community pharmacy.
Well, Scottsville's got a 200-year history of being a healthcare hub. In the early days, in the 1800s especially, we were an economic hub and a transportation hub for Southern Albemarle, Western, Blue Valley County, Northern Buckingham, even a little piece of Nelson, and of course, the town of Scottsville. And of that 200 years, 150 years, we had a drugstore here. And now we don't.
Nearly 18% of Americans live in a pharmacy desert, according to a 2025 study published in the Journals of the American Medical Association. In rural areas, that means there's no pharmacy within 10 miles. Virginia had 99 fewer community pharmacies in 2025 than it did in 2020, which contributed to 51 pharmacy deserts across the state. Scottsville is one. It hit local seniors hard.
There's so many reasons why a small neighborhood drugstore is important to a town this size. 25% of that population is over 65 senior citizens. The median age of the residents is 49 as opposed to the state median of 39. So even the young people older, if you can grasp that.
Scottsville had an apothecary in the early 1800s, but it was Bruce's drugstore and later Scottsville Pharmacy a few doors away where locals got health advice, over-the-counter medicines, vaccines, and had their prescriptions filled. When Scottsville's last community pharmacy closed in 2023, a Rite Aid opened in the strip mall near the Food Lion. But it too closed last May when its parent company filed for bankruptcy.
That's kind of hard. We all miss. We were all very sad and knew that it was going to be a hardship to get at least that short-term prescriptions like I was talking about for antibiotics, etc. that we need today. Yeah, it was a loss to our community.
Not many years ago, the pharmacist, a pharmacist, community pharmacist at a pharmacy was the most accessible healthcare professional to most people.
Pharmacist Justin Besser oversees UVA Health's 9 community and 11 clinic pharmacies.
People only see the value in how can I get the medication that I need and keep it the most convenient way possible. But you actually need to have access to your medication to be able to afford it, but you also need to know how to use it. You also need to know, is this the right thing for me? Someone who knows you, who talks to you every month, who has your profile on the computer, so they can say, oh yes, your doctor, your specialist is prescribed this, but they don't know that you're also on something else that would have a interaction with it or might be dangerous. They don't know what kind of things you use over the counter. And that's really what the value of regional pharmacy is it's a healthcare professional that you can walk in and talk to and get expert advice from, and direct care. And when those dry up in rural areas, those patients are often left with no alternatives.
According to the GEM study, more than 2/3 of American adults use at least one medication, 90% of which are filled at community pharmacies. Many, like Payne, can get regular prescriptions by mail, but delays and mailed medications exposure to temperature extremes mean it's not foolproof.
Besides the support fires that you have to deal with, or the once you get packages to get this delivered, if mail order works, I think it's good, but it's not effective yet.
Rural towns like Scottsville stood to benefit from House Bill 335, a pilot program that would offer grants to strengthen existing community pharmacies or establish them in pharmacy deserts. Though the bill was tabled February 6 when a subcommittee determined it lacked the necessary funding to get off the ground, a budget amendment that would offer $600,000 to the program remains in play. Payne is not deterred. He's urging people in Scottsville and across Virginia to call their representatives to support rural pharmacies. He's urging neighbors with retail properties consider a low or no rent lease for a community pharmacy. And he's looking into state grants and partnership opportunities with Virginia Commonwealth University and the Appalachian College of Pharmacy to draw talent to town.
I'm not gonna give up. That's not unfinished business.
Payne is also making plans to run for a fourth term as Scottsville Town Councilor this November. For WMRA News, I'm Christy Huber.
But while the legislative outcome was what we hoped for, we succeeded in putting Scottsville's pharmacy practice on the radar of the highest office in Richmond, including the governor. I want to especially thank former Mayor Nancy Gill, the host of the Danes Exchange podcast. I approached her to request that our pharmacy desert problem be the next topic, and the response from her listeners was overwhelming. Our community called the two local House delegates, Amy Lawson and Tom Garrett. Their phones were ringing off the hook in Richmond. These calls were the reason why HB 335 got as far as it did for being halted for this legislative session. Christine Cuda, more from WBTF Radio, heard the podcast and later interviewed both me and pharmacist Justin Bester. You saw that interview. And that story aired all over the state. Also had a radio interview with Joe Thomas on WQM Radio Stanton and affiliated stations across the Shenandoah Valley to appeal to his listeners to support the pilot pharmacy program. Finally, I spoke with the offices of every legislator on the Appropriations Committee and left a message with the administrative assistant from the government and was assured that message would reach her desk. We now must be candid about why the Independent Pharmacy Access and Resilient Pilot Program, B335, stalled earlier this month. The House Committee on Health and Human Resources passed HB 335 with a bipartisan vote of 21-1. That was a resounding success. They then referred it to the Appropriations Subcommittee for funding discussion. But by a vote of 7-0, that funding was rejected because of statewide budget constraints. 5 of the delegates on the subcommittee represented Fairfax, Alexandria, Henrico, Richmond, Chesapeake, all urban areas. They chose not to support a program addressing this public health emergency in underserved rural areas since it offered little benefit to their urban constituents. The sole delegate from rural Middlesex County, who also suffer for farmers and does, they got him there too. He happens to be a pharmacist who owns his own pharmacy. Maybe he didn't want to welcome new competition. As a result, there was no bill to cross over to the Senate. The Senate had no companion version of HB 335 and did not support a budget amendment to fund the project. Commonwealth Virginia has a $2.1 billion surplus and several new tax increases under consideration, so it's hard to believe there's no money available. There is, however, a prevailing wait-and-see attitude as the new administration settles in. Many delegates feel the state's focus should remain on pharmacy benefit management, PBM. Reform them first rather than direct subsidies. Because of state and federal legislation, Scottsville consumers will see a decrease in prescription drug prices. That's a good and necessary reform, but it does nothing to solve our lack of a local access to a pharmacy. The General Assembly is still in a recovery mindset, prioritizing the restoration of older programs over new initiatives like this pilot program. So we're continuing in Richmond reliant strategy while also launching a community-driven one. If the state won't fund the pilot program, we will build partnerships with neighboring counties and towns that share our struggles, with pharmaceutical business groups, and with state and local agencies, all to change the mindset in Richmond. The General Assembly has shown strong support for cracking down on these PBMs, the middlemen who have driven independent pharmacies out of business statewide. So our next step is to work with Richmond to make Scottsville a primary case study in rural pharmacy access and prove that a pharmacy pilot program can succeed here. We are exploring partnerships with regional health systems to bring up a telepharmacy or prescription locking system down here to Scottsville. The option requires less overhead than a full retail store, but offers the same life-saving access prescription. Additionally, we propose looking into creating a pharmacy enterprise zone right here in town, offering local tax and business license abatements to any independent pharmacist willing to move to the Scottsville area. So yes, the state may have tabled our bill for now, but they're not tabling our help. We're moving from the halls of the Capitol back to the streets of Scottsville and then back again to Richmond to solve this ourselves. And we will be ready to present a similar bill for consideration in the next General Assembly later this year. We may have lost the first battle, but we have a plan B and a plan C. We will not lose the war. Thank you.
Mr. Payne, I want to thank you on behalf of the town, on behalf of the council. I know we all want to help you the best we can, and so you just let us know what you need, and we'll see what we can do to supply it.
I need the community. Thank you.
Thank you for all your hard work. Anyone have any questions for Mr. Payne? And let's move on. Who's here for Southern Development? All right, favorite two of them. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you too.
Yeah.
Me, council, staff. Good to see you again, Charlie Armstrong, Southern Development. Same question, hopefully all that's Sam. Sam's in our office on Valley Street. Daily almost, pretty much. So we're here to just give you a quick update on progress on the Bird Street project and then answer questions that you all might have. So feel free to interrupt me. This is for y'all, so don't be shy. Road construction is well underway. We've got all but a little section paved now. There is some final top coat paving that needs to happen on the interior roads and on Bird Street from the utility line trenching that was done to get to water lines down Bird Street. That is scheduled for the spring when temperatures permit. We 50 degrees and rising temperatures for top coat paving. High quality paving job. So haven't had that and it won't for a little while. But that's coming right now. It's a little bumpy driving down there. We have 2 sales in there. We're very excited about that. It feels like a warm welcome, and as Sam has felt very welcome here in town. Lots of people stopping in just to chat. Others who are actually interested in buying homes. And he's excited to talk to all of these people, whether you're interested in actually buying in West Village or not. Going back a little bit further, we noticed we did a lot of utility relocation work in coordination with AEP. Got all of the overhead lines off the property, which we weren't sure that we would be able to do. They were very good to work with and moved those lines that come down the downtown with its primary source of electricity down maybe along First Street, which turns out to be a better route for them. They prefer those adjacent to roads to cross-country routes. Anyway, and the water line upgrade that we did in Bird Street was on our County Service Authority's capital improvement plan. They weren't going to get to it probably 2027. We didn't want to wait that long for our project to get going, as we're hearing lots of urging from people here in town. Let's get this thing going, and of course we didn't want to sit around either. So we went ahead and did that for Service Authority on our dime, which we were hoping not to have to do, but that was enabled to get going. Gotta have water. As far as construction, everything went along pretty well. The contractor there was very thankful for the patience of a couple of close neighbors And tried to work as best we could with the library and others to keep traffic open. Obviously, the big trench down there, there was some interruption. There was some other interesting, things they found when they're trying to connect these was, they had stopped and called an expert for the service delivery and what new plans, so it took a little bit longer than they hoped. But generally, as far as larger infrastructure projects like that go, they've been pretty significant. We're looking forward to the spring and, the housing market tends to tick up a little bit. Interest rates for mortgages are more reasonable than they have been, and buyer sentiment seems to be pretty good. Sam can speak more to that if you'd like. So we're optimistic for a good spring and keep the momentum moving into the summer. And with that, I would love to answer any questions that you all have. And
I'm gonna start with the council. Anybody have questions for?
First of all, I think, I assume that, these did a really good job with WPO and they've been working, I've been following it pretty closely for a while. Looks like they got that done very well. My first biggest question is that when you talked about the repaving of Bird Street, the library parking lot, is that county or is that going to be, you all doing that, finishing up around the library? And actually marking the parking there and all that, would that be that county or still that last time?
Well, first, for anybody who's not familiar with the terminology, WPO is water protection.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. I know we worked together on some things there and we were tracking it very closely. And it was important for us to make sure that we didn't release any sediment downstream to the James or have any flooding or erosion issues. And thank you, that did go real well. The contractor did a very good job. On paving, our responsibility is for Bird Street only. We're not planning anything with parking lot.
Okay, so that would be county doing the parking lot and the library.
I'm not familiar with what.
Okay. Well, the library had 6 parking lots and they were lined off and everything and they were at diagonals. And the parking lot itself needs some work. Right?
You're talking about out front?
Yeah,
On street.
And
Yeah,
that's,
I'm-
that's Bird Street, right?
Yeah, if it's anything that we serve, and we would appreciate
Yeah,
it.
I'm not sure if you discovered, but it's, just by so many folks, it's in materials, it seems like you can't even see where the parking is there. Well, I don't know, I mean, I could write one. I have written it, but, maybe, I would be, I've talked to librarians, they don't seem to know what's going on with the parking, right? But that's a separate issue, and that's going to be a concern when there are people going from down the road, make sure that's really safe.
Yeah, I'll check into it. I'm not sure where the extent of repaving will be. If they have to pave over that stripe area to make it all tie in nicely, then they would restripe it too. But I don't know if that's on the plan now, but I'll check it out.
A couple other questions. Should I just go or does somebody else want to go?
Well,
Well, and I talked to you a little bit, but do you have a price point on the duplexes? Because the next 3 houses are going to be duplexes. Well, and those were kind of affordable, but I guess they're going to be less expensive than the ones that are built there now. So they're duplexes. So is there some people are asking about that. And I don't know what the duplexes are going to cost.
I don't either.
Okay, all right.
We're still working on.
That's all right. That's all right. Then there's somebody else asked me a question about like you could sell the properties, but does Southern Development do all the building, or can you get your own, contractor to do an identical house somewhere else? Or because you could buy the property, but you could also buy a house, right?
Generally, we're only selling homes.
Okay.
And we'd be interested in talking to anybody who is interested in that kind of thing. We have done stuff in the past where somebody built a house and wanted a lot next to the remain open. And we sold that. But we probably wouldn't sell a lot. Somebody wants to bring it instead of public.
You said the sentiment of the houses was good, and I'm just curious, do you have like a rough timeline, or is this on track with developments you've done in the past as far as those units filling up? Are you guys expecting to have everything, I know you can't predict that, but so much, but is it looking like people are gonna be moving in and buying property?
Yeah. What you're seeing for as far as demand.
Yeah, for only being open for sales for right now, just a little over a month now. Tracking two so far is pretty on par with the majority of our similar size developments. So we're staying on track with what we normally do. So, as of right now, it's tracking the way it should.
What are you?
I was really surprised to hear you only have sales. There's part of me that feels like, well, I hope this is going. The price point. You guys, that's just, it seems really astronomical for this area. People have asked me a lot about that. I never thought it would get up so high. You know, like the duplexes, are they gonna be less than the 25 price point or?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's for sure.
Okay. So when you're looking at affordable housing, are you looking at Charlottesville median income or? Do you look at that at all? I know you're not doing affordable housing up there, but I mean, as far as like talking about the duplexes and stuff like that. I mean, does it get any less than that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really complex question that the entire nation is struggling to answer.
I get it.
I can tell you with my whole heart that our goal is to build these and sell them as affordably as we possibly can. Honestly, developing in Scottsville where there hasn't been significant organized new construction in a long time, as you all know, is a bit of an experiment for us.
So why does that make it harder here?
I wouldn't say it makes it harder.
Oh,
It doesn't
that's
make
an
it
experience.
an experiment.
A minute.
Yeah. Because we believe the market's here, we believe that people want to live here. You all believe want to live here, you all want to live here.
I totally want to live here. I'm glad I already have my house.
Yeah, but producing anything new construction it's just very expensive.
No, I get it.
And you look at Almar, there's steps above the pricing in Scottsville. And really the key to affordability is and how much the land costs.
Yeah.
It doesn't cost any less to build a square foot of house here than it does in
I get that.
urban ring of Almar or for example in the city of Charlottesville.
Yeah.
So the land and development costs, which are somewhat controllable through the processes we've been through with this body. We're trying to make it so that the development itself is not super expensive. It doesn't help to have to put it in water line service stories.
No, I hear you. And I can't believe that kind of thing is just left to you all if they have it in their capital improvement.
They would not even accelerate it and flip off it with something else.
No, but wouldn't there be some sort of reimbursement or something like that? I mean, that's a big project. I know, that, sentiment.
Yeah, we asked the same question.
Yeah.
And the answer was, you can wait and you get it for nothing and it will be part of a couple for the plan or you can do it at every time.
Right, and I feel sorry that we treat each other like that, but there you have it. And I'm also kind of echoing some of the, questions and comments I've got from I'm excited about it. Everyone seems very excited about it. I think that the price point was a shock at first, and there's nothing we can do about that, but I appreciate your comments on that. The only other thing I've been hearing about is questions about how can we make it walkable? And I know we've already talked about the not much you all will be involved in, but do you have any suggestions for that?
Yeah, there are some things already baked into the plan that we're working on. First is we owe the town a engineering plan for a sidewalk on First Street.
Oh, wow.
We're not building that sidewalk, but we're getting it partway there so that if there's state or money available, the town will have a ready to go shovel right there. That's in the works. I would like to have come in and already had that plan to the town, but I don't.
Like
Yeah, engineers are not as fast as what I can feel.
Sure.
And so
I'm
that's,
so excited to hear that. That's really
yeah,
great.
that's a big thing. And the other is that we have walking trails that are gonna go around and connect to the levee walk.
Yeah.
They'll go around the pond and through the neighborhood.
Mhm.
And then itself sidewalks. So internal walkability and kind of ambling kind of walking. If you're
Yeah.
going for a stroll, there'll be lots of that. The sidewalks.
Well, thank you for talking to me about that.
Yeah, I have one question for you. Back to the paving you talked about, will Southern Development come back and do a final pavement after the project is completed? The reason I'm asking is, in the process of continuing to build, delivery trucks are heavy and stuff, and the asphalt's the ground's gonna set in the process, and I just wondering, once the whole project is finished, are y'all gonna come do a final or improved pavement at the end of the job?
Well, we are very fortunate that the tire cord plant built Bird Street than they did with about 8 inches of asphalt already. It's built for 18-wheelers doing heavy deliveries, so it will hold up. We would like to get that one paved, top coat sooner. We're not gonna come back and do it top coat a second time. If we do it the first time on top of the existing service there, it'll hold up, it won't be any problem. But your point is very good. We'll wait on the internal streets, the new roads that we built. We'll wait till the houses are almost all complete to do that, for exactly that reason. The concrete trucks and things like that are a little more impactful than just passenger.
So what are these new streets called?
They have a theme, it's named West Village. And so the street picked up some of the names from, West Village in New York, which a long, long time ago was a very, residential place, now it's different, but. So that's where those come from, that in Jane Street.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question actually. Your internal streets, are they going to be, are they going to become VDOT streets or,
Yes.
and is that also after there's 3 homes of one sites to the press area that VDOT?
Yes, and generally we wait longer than that, because VDOT wants them to be, in good shape for the long term. So if they came and inspected and accepted them, all construction was still ongoing, then I'm not sure if they would with that level of construction. It's not the same as a rural subdivision road where you can do 3 homes and then they'll take it. Because we'll have on these smaller lots, we'll be more intense construction on it for a little longer. So we'll wait for that acceptance process toward the end.
I'm not sure if you kind of touched on it, but the tire factory, it used to be, they try to do a lot of it, and it was even going to be a Scottsville Industrial Park about 3 years ago. Now it's a historical district. And does that mean it'll be like that, can be touched? Or, I mean, people are asking like, if I buy a house there, can that be turned back into an industrial park? Or does it go engineer? Can they open that up again? And so is it permanent? Is it historical district? Because I just found out about this tire cord district a couple of months ago. And I just wonder, can you speak to that about the historical district and what's the long range plan with the historical district?
Yeah, I'll tell you what I know. The short answer to the bigger question is, I don't know what it will be in the long term. Dr. Hurt still owns it. We have an arrangement with him where when he's ready, he has to give us first crack at it. I don't know when he'll be ready. He's 98 years old,
Right.
Still in office every day.
And it's still a warehouse.
And it is still a warehouse for his things. So if and when he's ready, we'll get first crack at trying to do something there. I don't know when that would be. We were hoping it would be something a few years ago. And the historic designation was actually started by the folks who came to the apartments.
Right.
They wanted to put that in place so they could go for rehabilitation tax credits and keep the building exterior mostly like it is. And to do that, they had to prove the history was there, which it obviously is. It does not come with restrictions, that designation, it just comes with opportunity for,
So that's not a permanent status, it's a, could be.
I don't know if I can speak to that, I don't know.
I'll give you an example real quick of something that was on that state historic register and it doesn't exist anymore. Across, down at the corner of UVA, there used to be a George Rogers Clark statue. And that is in that state historic, district, well, it's not a district, it's just a site, just like the tire. It doesn't exist anymore. It's still listed, but who knows where that statue is. So you can take it,
Okay.
but the tax credits is a lot of
Yeah,
This is about the next thing. So, I mean, really, back to how historic is it really? To this town, yes.
To see what that would affect the neighborhood if there's changed status.
You have to go through a zoning issue that was changed. And we would have, that, wouldn't we? Like, we could think.
It's a Department of Historic Preservation.
If it changes, that would,
Yeah, there'd be some zoning controls.
Yeah, it's an industrial, like, so.
Oh, so it's like it's not having.
Right.
But no, it's heavy. Well,
You guys,
Any other questions up here?
you guys have a model house set up yet? I haven't been back there.
yeah.
That's not under construction now, it's how far through Frank, I didn't drive down the street today.
Should, drywall should be going in, mid-March.
Okay.
So it's one
I really thought you guys would be building some houses back there. I mean, I'm glad to see the model home. I was like, isn't it simple? Are you guys gonna be waiting a while to build because of the weather and all that?
No, we generally do our construction pre-sold, so we find a customer who wants it and build them the house that they're.
Oh,
So the model house is so they can see what
what it
it
would
would
be
be
like.
like, what the options are for any finished house, and then. That's not to say we never build one speculatively, we do sometimes.
Yeah,
But
okay,
typically we like to have a customer tell us everything they want.
yeah, they get extras and things. That's great. Okay, thank you for educating me.
Anybody in the audience have a question?
No.
Well, I know from personal experience that these guys are easy to get hold of and, they will return your phone calls and with somebody in an office here, you just walk in off the street, if you have a question or call. Because they are very accommodating answers.
Thank you. And if saying that I don't have an answer, we'll find it.
Yeah.
We'll try.
So we appreciate you being with us tonight. I'm sure you'll be getting other questions from other people, but thank you again.
Well, thank you all for your time. I appreciate it. Hope for success.
Thank you.
Yeah, see our friends from Rock River are here again tonight, you want to step forward and, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon. Just here again, to discuss what we have in East Main Street. It's gonna be one single family dwelling, right to the left of laundromat, previously owned by Mr. Tachi. We're gonna build our Cedar Creek floor plan, roughly 1,500 square feet. I can discuss. It is one part.
That's awesome. Quiet.
Any other questions for what? He's just supposed to move.
Are you talking about
Maybe
building
that's
on?
better.
Oh. Two.
Or not.
No, you all are joining us, you're just checking in.
We're just here to get approval to get our building permits.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I think we have to vote on that.
You'll be- and-
Yeah, we're doing it, see. Yeah. This is the recommendation from the council of towns.
Planning commission,
So, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the new construction on, East Main.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion on that? Ask the clerk to call for a vote.
Molly Anton.
Yes.
Alice Bassett.
Yes.
Dan Gritsko.
Yes.
Bill Hudson.
Yes.
Walter Townsend.
Yeah.
Roger Whitley.
Yes.
Thank you.
What sort of time frame are you guys in for having it started? I know you got, it takes a while to get permits and all
As
that.
soon as we get our permits, we're gonna get going. I don't have the start date right on hand, but like I said, as soon as we get our permits, we try to get rolling.
We have another house over on 53, don't you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I was asking, it's funny, it had not been bothered since that.
Yes.
First, oh,
Yes, sir. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
thank you. If you have any questions, you know where to come.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
Let's just, kind of incorporate the few minutes into public forum into the citizen comments of anyone in the audience that wishes to come forward and speak on any topic. You got 3 minutes, so. Mr. Adams.
If we talk on an item that's gonna come up later in the agenda, do you want us to wait for that?
What are you gonna talk
On the, what is it, 156? The club. The club built Taylor Smith.
The planning commission updates, the town council LGP. It's already been approved.
Yeah. And he's already recognized Mr.
on?
Adams.
Mr. Adams.
So you can wait.
I'm happy to defer it, Mr. Gibber.
No, go ahead. I'm only asking, do you want anybody to comment now or
You're
when
gonna
that?
speak to a specific topic.
Yes, sir. Specific topic when that comes up there. So please go.
Hey, Bob, live in Hartsville, Virginia. Shop here a while. I stood here in November, bring up issues of transparency, education. Little did I know how much work there would be. So, given some obfuscation, I'm here again to speak on transparency and education. However, the good news is this will be the last time I come and speak before you. You'll just get emails from me from now on. During the town work session 2 weeks ago, and I'm looking at the transcript right now, I would like to address some inaccuracies. I am the guy with the flock cameras, quote unquote. The town administrator stated that she has responded to these FOIA requests. She's basically asking for minutes. While the FOIA requests have been responded to, they have not been answered. And I have never asked for minutes. Tomorrow, I will send you all a copy of the entire message string that I've had with the town administrator so that you are aware in the interest of transparency. And as you read through it, you'll see that I've never asked for minutes ever. I have asked for the status of minutes. And very specifically, I said, if you have a tracker on the missing 23 minutes at the time, I believe it's more now, that would more than be sufficient to answer this FOIA request. That has not been met. And although it is believed that I'm a little confused about that, nonetheless, it takes time to send a response to him numerous times that I've done that. Responses and answers with regards to FOIA are different things. I can respond to people heard, but that does not give an answer to a FOIA request. FOIA is a legal issue in the state of Virginia. And while I am not FOIA trained in the state of Virginia, I am very familiar with it being federally trained. Also in your email will be 2.2-3714, which is violations and penalties. In case you haven't read it, if it finds that a violation was willfully and knowingly made, a civil penalty of not less than $500 nor more than $2,000 will be paid into the Virginia Library Fund. Big fan of books, so I'm good with that. For a second or subsequent violation, such civil penalty shall be not less than $2,000 nor more than $5,000. I currently have submitted 10 FOIA requests. Only 2 have been answered, and those were led by Chief Jenkins in less than 2 hours from the initial request. Transparency, education. I will send you all the streams so that you can be made aware. That's it. I received a phone call today, this afternoon. And I'm going to lump in everybody, town council, town employees, and it's just saying town members, if that's sufficient for you. I received a phone call today from the spouse of a town member who I do not have any type of a relationship with, nor do I desire.
That person got my personal cell phone number and called me. There's a 16-minute long conversation. At the end of that conversation, I asked, how did you get my number? Because it is not publicly available. Inferred. 2 minutes later, I asked again, how did you get my number? And I was told, and I apologize that Chief Jenkins is not here, so please, anything that I say regarding Chief Jenkins, verify with him. Trust but verify, don't believe. I was told that they received my number from the town member who had received it from Greg Jenkins. Because I had so many things in common with this call, of which I got. I cannot express how absolutely irresponsible, untoward, and unbecoming it is for a town member of the public government to have their spouse contact me simply because I have FOIA requests that are not being answered. In case this doesn't bother you, I'll be very clear. No, that is not how things are done. If you want transparency, maybe you don't. But so that everyone on YouTube, because it's being recorded today, so it's obviously going to be up on YouTube. I did send an email to the mayor, to the chief, to the town member, and to the town council of exactly how I felt about this violation of my personal privacy. I'm sorry if you don't like the fact that I'm pushing for transparency, but you don't give out personally identifiable information about regular citizens to spouses and significant others to have them then contact that petitioner. That is wrong. So to be super clear, as I was in the email, any and all communication can be done in writing or via email. Don't call me, I'll visit. We'll see little markers every 50 meters. You can figure out what those are. It's just for my telescopes. Please, let's do this right. Y'all ran for government for a reason. Probably to fix things. This ain't fixing. So, I wish you all a good day. And I'm sorry for bringing down the tone. Good job on home building and wineries are good. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
I would like to talk about this issue. I have a question. Bob came to us and gave a concern and, it wasn't us that contacted him to talk more about it. It was the police chief. I don't know whether that's appropriate or not. Can you discuss that or?
I think if we're gonna discuss anything else about this, we need to go in closed session.
Oh, okay. Well.
We can do that next one.
Okay. Why are we waiting?
Because it's not on the agenda to start the closed session. And if we wait till next month's council meeting, schedule a closed session if we need to, then we can maybe get all the facts together.
Okay. I just, these are definitely.
And I was actually, this is part of what I was gonna speak to today was about the FOIA, multiple FOIA requests that I keep on getting. I reached out to the FOIA council today, an email, and I CC the mayor on that, and Jim Bowling, because I'm at wit's end without providing the documentation that he's asking for.
The town administrator has been well versed in FOIA, and just like all of us are supposed to have been. And I'll admit, it's been a couple of years since I've had to do it.
I just signed up for 2 more classes.
You're familiar with it from state government?
Yes, yes.
So it couldn't be that much different.
Right.
So if we need to, see how things go the next few weeks, and then advice of the town administrator, if we need to have a closed session in March, we'll schedule it and talk.
I do believe that, this is a very important issue and needs to be a closed session, but my question was a little bit more like, what is the procedure there? One thing that I've always wondered when people come here to talk to town council about their concerns or their, unfortunately, we don't have a lot of, I'm so happy to see you, but it goes to question what happens after someone comes here. And I think I came to town council a couple of years ago and asked the same question. What happens when someone gives information or has a question about something? We always thank them, but it's never really discussed. And I thought that this was an apropos time to maybe talk about.
Public forum time is for people to express their concerns one way or the other. It's not for us to make decisions, talk about what they brought up.
Mr. Kennedy came before the council, who has been trailblazing his agenda. I think if someone comes to the public forum and addresses the council, it's for us to either decide or not decide. To take action. We to take action.
No, I don't think you're obligated. I'm thinking about what's right. You know, like people come to us and have a concern. I think it's, you know, trying to reach out to us and, you know, give us something to think about. So yeah, I can take that answer, but I just think it's really important. These are the people that we work with and work for and all of that. I want to know what they're concerned about. Sometimes they tell us about that.
We had a bunch of public forums before we voted on the clock cameras. We had their chief come in, we had the lawyer look at it, make sure everything was legally fine. Then we voted on that. So there's plenty of opportunity for
that. People like to
It's
tell
not
me
done
what
behind
I'm
the scenes.
voting on it. I'm looking at procedure, I'm looking at how people were treated. I don't know that Mr. Abbott was treated in any other way except for that there was frustration with his issue or him pushing back or whatever. I'm sorry about your situation. I don't know all the ins and outs of that. I'm just making an observation that I think is important.
Okay. So noted.
Thank you.
Now down to the next regular business, levy repair funding update. Like a town administrator.
All right, so in your packet, I just provided a timeline of what's been going on. Basically, since I started, right after I started in July, and I first submitted a funding request to, Mr. Pruitt on August 15th, 2025. And then again, December 8th, I talked to him, email, and then we had a verbal conversation, at the time of December 11th. And, Nancy Gill introduced me to Thomas Unsworth and, had communication with, Mr. Unsworth on January 14th. And, I think I stated a couple of weeks ago that, it's my understanding that he works for Albemarle County and was working on, the levy funding project. On February 4th, I spoke with Albemarle County, they reached out to me regarding the levy funding request, and she asked me questions. You know, there the following week, the 13th and then the 18th, I provided the clarification that they wanted. And, during the same period, I also asked, Tim Carr to confirm whether the original costs that, I had provided back in August were still appropriate, and so he called a couple of things, thankfully, that, needed to be updated that were, I think I have provided monthly costs as opposed to yearly costs, so I updated those. And, I heard back from Ms. Malcolm, and as of February 18th, Albemarle County staff have my written clarification, and they're actively reviewing the county's levy funding request.
So it went to the budget.
What's that?
Didn't the email that, Bill sent say that it was on the budget?
I believe that's
for them to review and approve.
Yes.
Okay, good. That's really exciting news.
So in looking at their budget, I'm not saying it's not in, but it's not broken out nowhere in that budget. You see the word levy. You just see like, you know, large chunks of funding said, I don't know where they would put it under, maybe water department or infrastructure and things like that.
Yeah.
So I don't, it doesn't, so don't think like there's a line item for letters, you know, somewhere within all of that, you know, in the 300 pages of their budget, you know, it may be in there. So,
Well, I'll follow up.
and I don't doubt that it is. I have no reason to be suspicious. I just,
Well, we're speaking directly about that.
Yeah.
Out in our county,
Yeah.
I feel like, well,
And
nothing
nothing
but problems, nothing but.
Isn't there another inspection?
yes,
Yeah.
I was talking about.
Oh, sorry.
I'm trying to stick by the agenda.
I know, sorry.
Okay. Any other questions about the legal repair? Set the annual meeting date, this supposed to have an annual meeting, which I think we can do that next month also, March council meeting. We'll call that our annual meeting, we give like a state of the town, a report, with maybe, you know, what's going good, what's not going good, and that sort of thing. So let's do that, in March.
I thought that was regular session.
Yeah.
Did you say, I'm sorry, regular session?
Regular session, March.
There was a question, Mr. Mayor, a couple of councilors said they thought that was tonight, but.
Well, it's not on the agenda, so it's not tonight. Okay. Okay, let's get into the call roll policy.
All right, so also, the follow-up fund information was provided, several weeks ago. I, provided the 13 years of, withdrawals and deposits. And also I provided the two different, accounts within the LGIP. One is unnamed and the other one is called the Caldwell. And, also provided the, so how much money we have in each account and the shares. So fast forward to last visit that we had, we also talked about the funds, and Mr. Hudson has been asking for clarification on how, council approves the spending and how it's made back. So I incorporated what his, requirements and what his questions were into the document that I provided. It was like a week or two ago. And it was like so it was a document that talks about the policy establishes how the town's reserve funds are held in the LGIP, how it's defined, used, and managed. So I asked how, what you all wanted to name it. If it was going to be a reserve fund held, a capital reserve fund, or operating reserve fund. How do you use it in an emergency? What happens if there's a cash flow shortfall? And then I specifically was asking about the Caldwell funds, what you all wanted to decide how that account can be used, again, for emergencies, cash flow management, reimbursable grants and one-time reimbursements. Also talk about preventative uses. And then various options here. So this draft reserve fund policy for the town's two LGIP accounts. I guess I want to know what direction you all want me to go in. I think that because both of those accounts are in the LGIP, I think that both of the accounts should be addressed. How you want to approve funding, how you want to pay it back. I think that it should be kept as a whole
So I'm sure it's looked at this multiple times because they got history of that. Okay, they just came up with 3 basic guidelines for the Colorado fund. And not to be confused with the broader fund. So I like what they came up with, pretty much about what it's utilized for and you get prior approval and has to be repaid. So I have these 3 points. I think are simple. I don't think it needs to be combined. I think the LGIP could be a different one. I guess that's the savings or what. So anyway, it seems to be pretty sensible to me to have it's not separate condition and stipulations for the Commonwealth. But we got a couple people here who know more about it than I do. I don't know if they want to talk about, but I mean, George's goes way back, and that's one of the things that they wanted to get the background of it. It's I think it's confused, but I don't think it's been paid back. So anyway, can you speak on this?
So does the mayor approve this only, or is there?
No. This is town council. This is all always town.
Okay.
Yeah.
And George can speak to it first if y'all.
Yeah.
A minute to listen to some comments from some other people.
Yes, sir.
This three.
He was way back.
And in the past, the other account, let's call it, was the town's savings. And if we had cash flow issues, that would be where you went. Not Caldwell Fund. Caldwell Fund was really like, better exactly the day, almost you can get back there and procedures and interest. But the in and out of the town savings account, it's not a piggy bank still. You have to come up with a way to put it back. But it was much less rigorous as far as rules and regulations. So you have things come up that have to be met. And council needs to vote on it. That's the way. But it's not. Neither one are viewed or tried to view as just a account that we need money this month. We in the past we knew starting in October you almost had to put the brakes on spending to survive until March. It's just the cash flow down because we don't have other sources that are every month all the time that are that much money. So excuse me.
I just can't believe we're still talking about this, I hate that it was just.
But Caldwell, you had a grant, you get money back, great, you do it for 100,000, 200,000, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I also believe that, speaking with the mayor, that when Javier was here, some of the Caldwell money was transferred to the other account to gain more interest. That needs to be put back.
Do you have record of
For the statement I provided a month ago showed 13 transactions. And the amounts of money and who did what.
Mm-hmm. I don't have that information. I just was speaking with the mayor, so.
I can provide it to you, but it shows, starting with mine, it shows $20,000. And then Javier, 50,000. 60,000. Matt Wallace had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and George Goodwin had 3. And like I said, I provided this document as well as a key that shows when, what it means buy, sell.
Did they get put back? Yeah, do you know?
I do not know that. I mean, it looks like. Well, Javier, for example, there was a buy and sell, so it looks like 50,000 and 60,000. So I don't know.
If the planner put the one that was taken out last month or 2 months ago, that could be put back.
Yes, it
That's
will
for
be
the
back,
payroll. So that's what I
but
think. Okay.
you need to develop a
Yeah.
policy.
That's what this is.
So-
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say council approval on the Caldwell Fund and then the town saving account.
Do that later, it's for emergency, do that later, yeah.
Well, I think
Exactly.
Since it was a short call cash, and you're collecting cash again, the thought was March, April, some. Back. But these fifties and sixties, like the town truck, I believe, was taken out of the call.
Yeah, maybe
Kind of.
fifty, the Javier did probably for the used truck.
So sell is, the account shares are sold to provide money to the town. And the buy is deposits or transfers into the LGR. The best I think out, and all these documents here that show all these transactions. I did provide you, I can email them again, if you want to see them. But, I mean, it goes. The policy, in my opinion, we really need to, or you are, we need to set the parameters of what the Caldwell Fund is used for and what the other savings that we operate will. And, is it, a capital reserve or is it operating reserve?
It's not operating.
So, but again, no offense, but it's
Sure.
the
Council's decision.
council.
Right, but in other words, if you come up and you want to have another street sweep or another something else, prices are up now, so you'd be talking 300,000 you need, well, it have the whole fund, but it's not there. So how do you borrow for, you don't have that still there? No.
So I had put in part of this document, and I don't know, you all make a decision here, but I said for the Caldwell Fund, this draft confirms its role as a short-term emergency and cash flow reserve for essential town operations, including documented cash flow shortfalls such as payroll, while prohibiting its use to permanently fund ongoing operations or to avoid needed budget adjustments. But actually, maybe we went back to that other. I don't know.
Sounds like that sounds like that.
And then for the second LGRP account, council must choose whether it will serve as a capital reserve, for example, for projects, equipment, facilities, and related debt, or as an operating reserve, cash flow stabilization funds, like what happened with payroll, to address revenue volatility and timing differences, and then set appropriate target balances and replenishment times. Then also, before I forget to ask, when I transferred the money from the Caldwell Fund to the account, I can easily transfer that money when we have it back to the Caldwell Fund. Or I can transfer it from that one fund to the other, back to the Caldwell Fund. Yeah, so I would like direction on that. We have enough money in the savings account to do that, and I will be more than happy to do that. Just tell me whether you want me to.
I have a question. Is payroll in question still? Are we still kind of looking ahead and seeing how we can do that?
We made payroll this past week. It hasn't been close like it has been. We're looking at March, default taxes coming in.
Right. It kind of sounds like you have investigated that.
I wouldn't go purchasing. Major purchase.
The sunshine's coming through.
No, we were today though, and I was happy about that.
Well, that is good, and it's maybe good that it came through this mistake. I mean, just so that we can really focus on that. But it sounds like you put together some really good things for these accounts. Are you guys feeling satisfied?
In the sum it up, maybe council needs to decide what to put back in Caldwell so that it's not just easy, I guess you say, to spend, because it's certainly been depleted over time by whatever.
The one thing thank you for that.
Yes, sir.
I was gonna say, following back what you said, Molly, would be, it seems like the first step is just the transfer from one to the other, right? And that seems the first step is.
Because I don't think our operating costs are going to get cut. We want to have that buffer.
So it seems to me does everybody agree, first step, okay, just switch from one to the other.
That makes everybody happy. That's the first step.
Yeah.
And then the second step has to do with, is a bigger step to figure out how do we deal with the law. But first step would be go from the one to the other.
Possibly, it doesn't seem to be budget right now, but possibly deciding what you need to try to put back in call, so that we could try to get another big grant to do some other good projects. Otherwise, we won't have the fund to do it.
So we realize that Caldwell's always been a stable fund. It's like for 250,000, it's 250,000.
It's not very stable, that's not 350, well, we've used it for different things.
Right.
But some of it
saying
it was supposed to be paid back.
Well, so it should never deplete it.
I'm not sure that I agree with that, George. I'm just gonna say this. I've been waiting to say this. I don't agree with that. We've never always had the perspective. That money that was given from that family was a gift for the family. But at the same time, I mean, the town does have expenses. The town does make capital projects, and no, the fund might not always be the same. And the sense of it having to be a certain locked in amount, I don't think that's accurate. So you've said that in a number of meetings. I don't think that's accurate. And I'm simply saying that
I know that we operated that way.
Well, we may have operated that way. That doesn't mean we have to operate that way.
Well, I remember when we started, it was don't touch it unless you absolutely have to, when you have the reassurance that it's gonna come back from a VDOT reimbursement or
Right.
whatever else. So we knew the streetscape, for example, as soon as VDOT put their final blessing on it, we knew to check VDOT. So we were able, we agreed to take money out of Caldwell, finish up the streetscape project because we knew it was guaranteed it was gonna come back.
Correct.
You know, I don't remember us ever doing anything that we weren't guaranteed that the money was gonna be replaced from some outside source.
Right.
Mostly what I'm trying to say too, Jordan, not to give you too much of a hard time, but we can all have a selective memory about what it is.
Yeah.
And
I also spoke to Amy. I also spoke to Amy to try to make sure I was speaking correctly. She would move the same way.
And that's fine. The point of us trying to figure out which account to use correctly. And second of all,
It's up to the council to do that.
Sure.
Period.
Well, I think.
But we just need to be really, really conservative.
Question, Council, since you're running town councilman, you've been here for longer than anybody else has. Each time the LGLP or the Caldwell Fund was dipped into a move fund, it was done with the approval of the town council, correct? So if it's done with the approval of the town council, then maybe what we should do, even though this saying that there are certain ways, certain things that need to be done, need to be put back or whatever. Maybe it's time to relook at that and make town council to maybe government to come up with a suggestion or advice to present to council. That we could maybe change. I understand where Council Victor comes from. Sometimes if the money is there, what to use, nothing sits there and says we have to put it back. That may have been the original idea to begin with. As time goes, things change.
And we're in a real
But
tight spot.
I think tonight's issues on the table, which administrator has come up with, is trying to come up with solutions. I think that's absolutely correct.
And keep record.
Now, whether it's the final version, I don't know, but and government services, I think, has given some maybe suggestions, what have you. But the spend because you need it, I think you really have to think hard before you say you need it just because. We have to trim back sometimes rather than to.
Well,
I know I do, but at home, I have to trim back sometimes when I got something major or something came up. It can't always be, we know there's money there, we'll just take some of that.
And also, I think, look at it like, you have a savings account and sometimes you have an IRA. You know,
Right.
terminate. So you gotta take out of that RV out of an emergency. But, and you try to put it back in the you can't, because that's your long-term savings. But I kind of look at it, I'll go that way, it's like, it's sacrosanct almost, you just don't. Oh, we need it for this, that, you know, let's just.
That's like, there was an absolute
Yeah,
knowledge of how it's coming back.
Yeah.
I think it's very
The
important.
town savings, should have the flow, but the one subject that hadn't come up is maybe we need to put in our budget, put some in the town savings each time, so we do have build a reserve.
It punctuates the need for communication. I think that this was not a willful, draw
Right.
from the Caldwell County.
right,
And I think it's really important that everyone know exactly what's the next step. So Elizabeth is really putting together a really important document for this fund. If you don't want this to happen again, we need to put this together. So,
And I think overall, some of it's community growth, because I don't think in Javier's case, or certainly not in your case, but you didn't even know what the other fund was active in.
yeah.
Yeah, so I understand all that, I'm just saying, we need to go as tight and conservative as we possibly can, or we won't be able to do a project.
I think we can move forward here
I
as
see.
far as what the town staff needs. So I don't have a motion they want to, or is this what draft you see in the agenda tonight, votable?
which one we grab?
Be important to look at those line items that she had for each fund and make sure that they correspond to the correct fund, right?
So I would feel comfortable, first, I will switch the money back, but if you will vote on that and tell me if you do that, that'd be great. And then secondly, what, you all both are suggesting is, since that one sentence that or the paragraph that I read about, short-term emergency cash flow reserve that you all said that sounds like more like the second account. I would like to make that update and then present the Caldwell fund and the secondary funds again with each thing that I'm proposing and then hash it out in the next work session.
So March,
You want to, redo that paragraph and give us something for the work session for
Yes.
that.
Yes, I will do that.
Value we need to then vote to replace Caldwell money that's taken out with public. So,
yes, for the second fund, right? We need to name the fund. That's part of the.
It was literally referred to as savings, rather than all.
Yeah, that's, it's a better name than
Sure.
the unnamed fund. Thanks for sharing that.
let's have a motion to take, funds out of the savings account and to replace the funds that were taken out of the Caldwell.
So moved.
So.
Move to second. Any discussion on that one?
No.
Nice. So, I don't think it relates to that, but I like what Bob says, is that if we do ever use the call, it needs to go for a vote. First, we do that.
That's what didn't happen, that's what we're trying to.
Yeah, so it looks like it wasn't used, it was misused or just confused for last.
So I think like,
You follow, that's just not that.
oh, I just had one more thing I wanted to say, and that because I've done this before, I mentioned to town council that a form is really helpful to sign off on and be completely sure what's going on. So I hope that you will consider doing that, because not having that, I don't know how you do it.
Well, we moved and seconded to take the money out of the savings account and put it back in the Caldwell account once it came. And, any other discussion? All right, oh.
Colleen,
Yes.
Alex Bissett,
Yes.
Dan Ritzko,
Yes.
Bill Heisen,
Yes.
Walton Townsend,
Good.
Robin Whitney.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, then we'll have something next work session to related to all this and see if it's suitable for voting on in March. Item D, protocol for communication and funding requests. those, what kind of funding request are you talking about from the general public or
No,
from?
I was talking about funding requests that individual town council members made, and, that I really think that we need to establish guidelines on how the town of Scottsville communicates with, external entities, including other governments, funding agencies, and regulatory bodies. And in order to ensure consistency, questions in the proper formulation. The council, as you all know, acts as Bob, and, the mayor and 6 council members constitute the governing body. Individual council members do not have independent authority to bind the town and represent the town's official positions to outside parties. And, further, I'm responsible for day-to-day operations and implementation of council directives and coordination of town business with external agencies and governments, including communications on administrative, operational, financial, and regulatory matters are managed through the town administrator and staff. I'm the primary contact for the intergovernmental coordination of day-to-day communication with Albemarle County. The mayor serves as the ceremonial head of the town and the presiding officer of the council. He represents the town at ceremonial and public events. Anyway, I'm not going to do this whole thing, but this came up, and I've shared with you all the email and then my email to Council Hyson that I really think that we need to follow a chain of command where that one person doesn't. I mean, I know that they're trying to be helpful, but to take it upon themselves to contact Albemarle County about the funding request when earlier this evening I read you all the outreach and all the communication that I've had with Albemarle County about that. And I think after the first time in December, I said, thank you, but please don't do that again. And then, what happens again? I just talked about 2 weeks ago about what I was doing with Albemarle County and the letter fund.
So I think it's just common courtesy if anybody in there is free to contact the county supervisor about something, but let the town administrator know that, hey, I made a phone call to Mike the other day and asked him a question. Don't just go on your own because you're representing.
Right.
This group is supposed to work together. It's not individuals.
Let me just say, I think I didn't know you had made this regular contact with him like that, and I thought this would have been good to know if we had a regular communication about this. Well, I talked to Alex a few times, and I thought he was working with the county supervisor as well. So if he was that, and I know the guy, so I just asked him a question. I wasn't speaking for the town. I was just saying, is there anything going on? But I didn't, the fact that he was doing it, why couldn't I do it? I didn't, but maybe the role of town council is different than a role of if I was a private citizen, I guess I could do it.
Well, the thing is, keeping everybody in the loop.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the plan.
Yeah.
You're gonna
Well, I did the first time. I figured I could do it.
contact supervisor or something, just let the town administrator know, say, hey, I'm gonna get Mike call, see what's going on here.
Okay.
I'll make a recommendation from here on out. Anybody have any questions about anything related, whether outside the agency or whatever, any council, ask the town administrator or ask the mayor or the vice mayor, say, hey, we'll go through that way. I can see where if you've made contact with Albemarle County, should make contact with Albemarle County, next thing you know, the information goes whatsoever. I believe for the future, if we're gonna have to speak to anyone on any type of issues, it's gonna be outside of Scottsville, the town council should come up with a vote and agree to allow that person to be the representative, the spokesperson for that. That's an important example. We told Mr. Haynes that he has our full support to lead the thing for the pharmacy. The town council kind of agreed to that. So I believe that what we should do, and I agree with Mayor Smith, that we do need to have better communication. So any questions, please be directed to the town administrator or the mayor.
I think it's also important for council to be able to pursue things that they're interested in, they want to pursue, but just to make sure they convey that it's a body that votes. And they can't make any promises.
Right.
And if you're trying to make town policy or reach out to another municipality, probably talk to the town administrator.
I don't want it to be a permission kind of thing, though. I feel like we need to follow what's best for the town. I don't know what you would have said to Bill if he had said to you, I just talked to.
I would have shared with them that I just talked with them 2 days ago and that I'm providing an update. And that's the conversation, but I've also been saying that all along. That I had the conversation with Pruitt. Here's the email that I sent.
Right.
And then I just literally happened from February 3rd to whatever I had written down on the 13th, and then she let me back on the 18th and said, sorry for the delay, but we're looking at, we're reviewing it.
Well, I know that it was kind of going contrary to what you had talked about before, and so it's good to make it clear. I just didn't want to open up a situation where if Bill had contacted you, I kind of think you probably would have said, don't contact him again. And I don't know if that's appropriate, but I do understand what you're saying. And I think it would be great if everybody was checking in. Like
when the email says that town council doesn't know what's going on, that's not true.
Okay.
I didn't know, I didn't know what was going on. Maybe I should, I don't know, but I wasn't getting a clearer picture of what was going on. And I didn't know you had this timeline and things. And the last thing I had was maybe August or December even. And, I talked to them before and I worked with the park and stuff like that. So we've had contact. So I just asked them, hey, any up there? That's all basically. So I was just poking a little bit, but see, I know he's running for office and he withdrew his name and I just thought it might have got lost. So I just asked him, hey.
Come into the office, you ask the town administrator what's new. Anything new I need to know about? That's what I do. I come in, I say, what's going on? Is there anything new that I need to know? And if there is, you tell me. If not, I rely on everything that we have talked about.
We'll continue to communicate. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't a situation where if you wanted to pursue something, that it wasn't like.
I can't go everything.
Permission.
So much.
So is this something we really need to put down in black and white or the these columns?
Well, it's none of it's in writing.
My common sense might be different than other people's common sense. I just
Emergency. If somebody wants to do, anybody want to make a motion? Related to this.
Mr. Mayor, now, this, so I said this to everybody, I appreciate maybe the one uniqueness about this situation. I do think we should all have the freedom to talk to whoever we want. However, what I think the town administrator was rightly saying is she was already in the dialogue, following up on the issue. And in that is viewed from that sense. And so we do want to make sure many times where if we don't have an initiative about something, we don't have an initiative, but.
I absolutely agree with
Yeah,
that.
so, thank you, yeah, and so that sense when we're on an initiative, we do want to sing the same song, so to speak, it's better to have the same tune, and I think Councilor Heisen, I appreciate what you said, that's just the sense of you're wanting to sing the same song also. We all want. We want the same thing, just. Well, us out a little bit, that's all.
So I don't think we can do a motion.
I don't think so either. I think we can communicate with each other.
All right. Well, let's move on to RDB.
Next week, for the, meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, do our meeting in March.
Just item, just if there is any new committees that we wanna. But the other thing, we do need to change the name of that, used to be an emergency preparation, I guess that's. So, but I mean, that needs to be part of our policy, it's a public safety work group, is that what it is?
We did away with emergency preparation.
It's
Emergency preparation.
Yeah, we wanted that, and it's now the public safety needs.
Great, so we'll discuss that next meeting.
So that'll be the public safety working by us.
We
So
can
it's
work
not
all
the
that
annual
in.
meeting?
Yeah,
March. Not the work group, but the regular meeting.
I would probably put it on the agenda for the work session.
Awesome, okay.
And if it continues through needing a vote, then we'll take a voting session. So we'll go into that meeting, ready to go, and we just vote on everything.
Yes, sir.
All right, ordinances and resolutions. Rules of procedure update.
Okay, so the rules procedure, is something that we have been talking about for a month. These are the legal changes. The fire things, actually, let's go over to the personnel policy. Okay, that's something else to be there on. So, let's, I can have traders on the other one.
too much papers.
The personnel policy is, the 2026 personnel policy. These changes that I provided, are requirements, for your handbook language in compliance with current review laws, formally integrated policies, council has been using in practice. So it would be updating, and amending the Scottsville personnel policies that, I can read you what the summary of the required benefits. It formalizes a written resignation process for the planning commission and ARB members. And it establishes vacancy posting procedures, and that is mandatory under Virginia code. I won't say the number unless you already want to hear. Appendix 3, the resignation policy incorporates the October 21st, 2024 policy that's already been voted on the personnel policy. This is required by law as of July 1st, 2025, and Appendix 4, it has a non-compete prohibition section. It prohibits non-compete agreements for wage and non-compete employees. Again, that's required by law. Appendix, this is actually it's just been updated. Minimum wage requires all employees to pay at least $12.41 an hour as of January 1st, 2025. And that's also required by Virginia law. And we need to add to our policy appendix about protected classes, and then it has the ethnic origin wording as a protected characteristic, and that is required January 1st, 2025. So I think I've provided this December 8th and the 15th and January 12th. These changes are required to bring the town's personnel policies into compliance with current review law. And I do have the codes if you all want the codes. But again, it's up to your resolution amending the town Scottsville personnel policies and employee handbook. The updated policy.
Do we need to do motions for these, or can we just kind of add for that?
As presented,
some of those will be updated even more, minimum wage.
Right, and so.
So, it's way up.
Yeah, the minimum wage is good, question. That one, Mr. Bowman has suggested as well that, we put, I guess, an addendum or amendment to say that, first of all, we have to say that it meets minimum wage, and then have the amendment, and then that way, we just have to change the amendment every time that there's a, yes, that I'll.
Is that the word? It can change.
Yes, now.
It's easily
yes,
changed.
yeah.
Because there's stuff coming like even now. Okay.
So I do have most of my notes. You remember? Since
Do we?
Yeah, I think it's pretty straightforward. All right.
Yeah.
All right, we're ready to do. Sure, I'll read. Mr. Mayor, I move that the town council adopt a resolution amending the town of Scottsville personnel policies and employee handbook at section 10.11 and parentheses 3 through 4 as presented this evening. This resolution amends the personnel policies and handbook updated June 20, 2023 to incorporate the following required updates. Did I roll through all this that you just did or?
No.
No, okay. As
mentioned.
mentioned.
That's your motion.
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion?
Like I said, Jim looked at this, I talked to him with the everything's. Kosher.
Thanks for making me up to one comment on this and make sure people realize this resolution shall take effect immediately upon adoption.
And then also, when you all, you want to see the updated policy and the updated handbook, the work session.
Did you send that by email?
What's that?
Did you just send it by email? So you're gonna put it all out?
Okay. We got a motion, it's been seconded, it's been discussed, we need to call.
Mr. Nolan. Yes. Alice Bissett,
Yes.
David Risto,
Yes.
Bill Tyson,
Yes.
Walter Town,
Yeah.
Roger Whitley.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on, brief reports,
Oh, so that was, so it was on both of those. Oh, okay. Teacher. Yeah. Pick that up from them. Okay, so.
We were going to talk about the website at some point. Also, we can do this. There's.
I think you all should just do it, celebrate. I mean, if you all put some work into it and that's glad. You came up with a good solution for that. Do you want to give your, put it in there, or do you want to? Just talk about those things.
Staff, reviewed, well, got three different companies initially to present their website design and their pricing. We did have, committee to talk about. I'm just gonna complete loss of what we did.
ADA requirements, yeah. We did live registration.
Yes,
Yeah.
So
they stay on top of ADA.
yes.
And not every platform is automatically inclusive of that. Yeah. It's, actually the highest proposal had a extra in order to keep ADA compliant. We had to pay an additional fee. With the ADA requirements being updated to 24/7, you really want to be prepared. We're not going to air a website that is not compliant. No, I think that's great.
So that document, I believe I sent it to council on February 10th. And I reviewed the three different companies that we looked at. So spoke to the previous budget line item for the website services was $2,000. And the reason why I brought this up, the contract is ending March 1st. And, then we're gonna need to pay for the new contracts before the, new budget is approved.
You have to go a year with that new, the first one, if we. We don't for a couple of weeks, can we keep them for another week or month or something?
Yes.
So we gotta do a year, I mean, I don't have a gap between.
Yeah, so there's no,
Oh, okay.
No,
yes, so that was one of the things is I wanted to get this done before, because I don't think we should be left without,
Right.
a website, and I certainly don't want to use, Civic Plus again, because, I really despise them. Anyway, so the muni, is it muni bid?
Oh, we did, yes.
So they actually, cost less, $1,500. They're giving us a discounted annual cost of $1,188. And, they did show us how they added minutes and they have agendas and they have a little ticker tape thing, like if something comes up or we wanna just put, hey, don't forget the town council meeting. We can do that easily. The companies that we looked at are geared to smaller companies or, municipalities like ourselves. So we recommended,
They also do not have an additional fee for transferring all of our current data. Which one of these websites, had a almost, I think it was like $1,700 fee just to transfer all of our information. And even though we wouldn't necessarily need to do all of that, having it included was a big benefit.
you're gonna work with them to do the math and all that.
Yes, and they will digitize forms for free, so, like our meals tax, a lot of our documents that are already on our website, that are, that people print out and then fill out, they will be digitalized so that people can actually just fill them in online, which, is also incorporated in the fee.
Can they pay their fees online?
That is the other option, yeah. So there are many, many different benefits to community, but specifically, and they like Elizabeth said, they're tailored to smaller municipalities. They're gonna answer the phone. The one person that works with us is gonna be our representative and our manager for our whole account through the duration of our contract, which is only a year. Yeah, some of these guys were like 5-year contracts but we've been doing this research for these website platforms for months and, feel like we've done a lot of extensive interaction with each of them. And I think that the other thing is good.
So it sounds like the two of you like it, simply put.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I do wanna say, Councilman Heisen, sent me an email with an alternative website proposal. I'm sorry?
I don't know much about it. Somebody.
Okay,
has
yeah.
that.
So I wanted to, talk about too, she also has, I haven't seen it, we haven't seen any of this information. The cost is $1,350, but the ongoing annual cost, hosting and support of $950, so it ends up being $2,300, which is more expensive than that. But I think to answer, Councilman Heisen, that we.
Yeah,
we
we know,
like this.
we were really involved with the government service had a lot to do with it, when we did that with Javier way back. And one of the big things we wanted was the ease of use.
Yes.
And I don't think this one we got now, it's easy,
No.
change things and add things and put things, so ease of use is a big thing. And support, so I guess they
Yeah.
give support. Yeah, and the other thing is, so money wasn't a factor, but,
No, that's it.
as long as they have those support things, because we need training. It was really hard to get training from this other bunch.
Right, so this company also incorporates
Good.
different training sessions with the users. The other thing I was gonna say is that they are fully capable of changing the domains. We're interested in trying to be a .gov. So they support that too.
And they did have a search function. We could,
Oh, yes,
like,
sir.
you could look at the
Yes, sir.
documents and say, well, give me the document about how it or something. Okay, good. Well, if you like that, but, I feel, go with it.
I would like to get down to, seems like what was presented to us everything seems to be below budget. I believe it's my thing to say that we, hired, Mr. Abbey to be the town administrator, but I think we can allow her to choose the one that she feels is gonna be the easiest for her. Because we're, in a way, we're still in a rebuilding process, trying to get where we need to. She has my full confidence in whatever platform she selects. I believe that should help us be a little bit further. So,
Are you gonna make a motion?
Well, no, is that when we want you to call?
Yes.
if you feel that's one that's best for you, then I'm behind you.
Yeah, they've done all the research. I mean, this is what we.
Yeah, we all can't do it.
You make a motion to allow the town administrator to choose the, one that she feels is best for the town.
Right? So it's like,
Second.
any further discussion?
Thanks for doing all the research. Yes.
So Carl, can vote on this one, so we have a record.
Yes, sir. Molly and Devon.
Yes, ma'am.
Alex Bissett.
Yes.
Dan Ritzko.
Yes.
Bill Heisen. Walter Townsend.
Yeah.
Roger Whitley.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you all. That was a good bit of information that you all sent us. It was good.
Thank you, Molly.
Sure. Thank you.
Please, right? I'll just say that, in your documents, I included hot off the press, the profit and loss for this quarter, or not the quarter, for this fiscal year up to February 23rd. Profit and loss, and then also, balance sheet. And, this is the second report that the company has provided us, so it seems to be going smoothly somewhat. There's other reports that are available, and, I will print those out, just the report titles, and then maybe you all could tell me which, titles of finances that you would see, on a monthly basis. I know, a council member had said that at one time they used to, it used to be that every month that the council would see what checks, what bills.
Well, I would like to line by line stuff to see what much. Yeah, some of this is pretty confusing to me. Maybe we could go over the work session of some of this stuff. What these numbers actually mean, because you know, how much do we spend on this, how much do we spend on that? That's know how much.
Really,
No, I mean, not the overall picture, but
exactly what the budget.
right. Right, oh, so they'll have some line items in here?
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah, underneath the bolded text, you're gonna find the expenses.
Yes, and the different codes, and we have been working on figuring that out because some of them were redundant when we had, things under the police.
So is that different than this thing?
Yeah.
Is that different than this?
That's the report that I provided 2 or 3 weeks ago,
Right.
right?
Is that different than this?
That was to January. This one that I provided today is from the fiscal year to today.
The more recent one.
And they wouldn't want you just choose that difference between the number.
Maybe we could go over these, because some of it, I'm just like, what are these expenses? If I don't understand some of these things.
Well, I think for me, one of the things that you had mentioned before, Bill, was like a budget versus actual.
Yeah.
Or a year versus year. Some sort of indication of where we stand in each one of those reports. It's just.
How much do we got left to spend? I'd like to start spending some money.
You're not gonna be spending anything.
You see, how do we know that? I can't figure it out.
You'll need to report that to the town administrator.
No, but I mean, there are some the major, and I said, there are some major purchases we need that are just.
Yeah.
That are, I don't know how we're gonna get it, but we'll buy some signs for the town, And even in the comprehensive plan I went over the other day, we're supposed to have a wayfaring thing, okay, you're entering Scottsville. And then the other one, you're entering Scottsville, both those signs are gone. Those would cost some money to build those signs. And then, of course, we need a lot of repairs, and so I don't know how we figure that out from these reports, what money we have to buy these kind of things,
So
you know?
we just do, teacher committee to come up with the idea.
Well, we're gonna go through this, we're gonna go through this.
Send us a suggestion to the town council.
Yeah, we're gonna go through it,
The town
but.
council will decide what
Yeah, I
our
mean,
priorities are.
yeah, well, that's what I think we all want to do, I think we need to do that.
Would you rather, would you rather make payroll or would you rather have fixed that time?
Right.
You got to pick your priorities, you got to pick and choose, right? That's why we put out there, blend up what you want to, blend it up like this by do. Send that to us, to the town council from. Make a determination.
So we have to talk about the farmer's market.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So we did a picture.
Section 9 definitely needs to cut down.
But the farmer's
That's the
market
worst.
will be opening up again, right?
Right, so the farmer's market, we did get an applicant, she came in.
This one?
Well, yes.
There you go.
Another person had expressed interest, and so, he had expressed interest, he and his brother were interested, so I talked to them briefly, sent them the information, and then I haven't heard from them. So I think, we're just down to the wire that we need to make a decision. We, the mayor and I met with Kathy, with Money Falls, and, spoke with her for some time, and, I believe that is.
Last time.
She has more than 7 years' experience with the farmer's market, and I didn't solicit any information from any vendors, but I've had 3 different vendors contact me and said we heard Kathy is wants to be the market manager, and we think she'd be a good choice. So
She was heavily involved in, July 4th.
yeah, she
Yeah.
ran in July.
Yeah, I think that she's got some good experience and some willingness to work with the people.
So I think,
It's a hard job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the recommendation of the town administrator who has met and interviewed this candidate, entertain a motion that we.
What should we think? How should we think?
She didn't ask.
Yes. What's $6,000?
Yeah, that sounds right.
The budget, the approved budget was $6,000.
6,000, that sounds reasonable.
So, we would entertain a motion to hire Kathy Boyce as the market manager for this season.
So,
Is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion?
I have updated the vendor list, and we still have to, she and I have to get together, work on how the tables are gonna be set up. The mayor and I also discussed today that, do we wanna keep the no dogs policy?
Yeah, one of the vendors that was pushing for Kathy to get the job said that she really liked the dogs policy at farmers market.
I think that's state law.
Shocked at first.
I think that's state law.
Well, it's a question, one of those questions state laws, it might be on the state law, but then it says for certain local farmers market, and set their own rules. So, it's one of those. Anyhow, we moved the second call, and discussed and, call for vote.
Yes, sir, Molly,
Yes.
Alex Cassette,
Yes.
Dan Griscoe,
Yes.
Bill Tyson,
Yes.
Walter Townsend,
Good.
Roger Whitley.
Yes.
Oh, great.
I thought I saw Mr. Boyce from the audience somewhere. Oh, there he is.
That's why it's here.
You can relay the information.
Yes, she does.
Don't tell me, don't tell me.
Elizabeth, if you don't mind, after you get things going, would you be able to ask her to come to the one of the town council meetings, because myself and one of the other town councils, we do have some questions about how some of the things are being done.
That would be good, that's a good idea.
And so we want to know how we're going to address.
Let's just take out the work sessions instead of occurs 2 weeks before.
Well, we can invite her, we probably like a question
Okay, so,
about how we're going to deal with the vendors to get paid back.
right,
Okay.
I think that's excellent. I put together a document,
I couldn't find a policy, if it was a policy, I did find some stuff that, Lily had, she had, some of her highlights or whatever, and she had the table set up. So I used that as well, but I made a policy and, I'll provide it to you all beforehand, so you all can decide. You know, if you like it or not. I did talk to Chief also about a dog policy, and, he reminded me of, he told me of a incident a couple years ago about someone sold, and I don't know what happened, he got in a fight or whatever, but then he had to address the food and no trespass on 3 different people. So I explained that, well, maybe, and then, you know, there is food involved, and I did look at the different laws, you know, about that, so.
Well,
That's my preferences.
once the owners don't take care of their dogs, they're like decades in the market where they're selling food and things like that. It's just not. If they took care of it, it might be a different story.
Yeah, can I speak on the dog thing real quick, because, along with Kathy, I did the farmer's market for 10 years down there. And I was there when that dog thing came up, it keeps coming up with. And that's got kind of blown out of proportion. I understand both sides, I'm really indifferent to the city one way or the other. But in the 10 years I was been down there at that farmer's market, maybe 3 instances of a dog being less than, you know, loud, barking or whatever. Generally speaking, it's very calm, very calm, very, everybody pets the dogs. It's not as big a deal as it seems to be being made to sound like.
Yeah.
But what I do think you will find is your Scottsville is a very dog friendly town. People walk their dogs. They would go to the market, but oh, I can't because I have my dog with me. I don't know what the percentage is, 5, 10, 20%. You're cutting the population of patrons down because you're not allowing dogs. I can understand that if it was a huge problem, but I didn't witness a huge problem in 10 years. Is that worth cutting your patrons down? And that's for you to discuss. I just want to bring that up. We need to have the administrator and the market manager will work it out.
Yeah.
That's my answer. I cannot remember what year we built the farmer's market. It was about 2010, 20 was Barry mayor then?
Yes, yes,
It was doing Barry's term.
right, and I solicited timbers for the market and all of that.
Yeah.
Quick question. Not too long ago, there was some money that was appropriated to do upgrades to the farmers market in the
Yes.
area. Is that done?
No,
You know, are there gonna be any more improvements? to
There's-
the
there's-
building?
should be many more improvements.
Okay.
That, for example, ARB approved, repairing the cupolas and actually using man-made products so it would last.
Okay,
And that type of thing, and some of the posts are sinking and we need to tend to them. They're on the rear side, the timber, the flat timber on the top is rotting. On the front, there's one of the flat ones that's rotting. One of the angle posts is rotting from the bottom. Can be attended to and can be repaired. Yes,
do
but
we have the money to do that still, you know?
you have some budget to attend to some of it, yes. You do.
One thing's budget, the other thing, we have the money.
You know,
It was budgeted for, yes, and the electrical,
well, hopefully that can be taken care of, but it sounds like,
I would hope so.
okay. I don't know what the answer to that.
Okay, let's get on down here on a couple of things we have to vote on. Maggie Unsworth, been recommended by the planning commission to fill a vacancy on their commission. I talked to her yesterday. She is most exciting and really excited to do it and willing to do it.
I met with her the other day, she's an interesting person, and I think it's really great that she's.
She's got a good personality. She lives in the house on the corner by the library across from Thomas's house, Thomas Owensworth's son. So, need a motion to,
Make a motion to accept.
Second.
any discussion? Go ahead.
All right, all years mine. Alex Fiston, Dan Briscoe,
Yes.
Bill Hudson,
Yes.
Walter Townsend.
Yeah.
Roger Whitley.
Yes. Anybody wants?
Molly was a woo, yes.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't know I was answering you.
Yes.
It just kind of flowed and I was like, oh, I think that's good.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
Just let the record show.
Yes.
And we were doing the details of.
Five yeses on blue.
Doing the details of, the, SUP that, Taylor Schmidt wants for the Masonic building with, 2 apartments upstairs, 1 downstairs, and the front half is, retail space. So it's a motion.
May I speak to that before you do, please? I feel that there's,
We got a motion on the floor.
Can we table that until, because he said he wanted to speak to something. Have to talk about.
Public comment.
I know.
Yes, sir.
We have a motion on the floor and we need a second.
Second.
And now we open for discussion amongst council people.
I would like to postpone until we hear from the public. I'd like to make a minute with postpone.
Is that like what we feel like we have another town councilor?
no, I'm only asking about a rule first.
And up to the mayor.
Yes, in the past, we have asked for the landlord to provide parking, private parking, off-street parking.
Yeah.
How do we do that with 2 units upstairs and another downstairs with however many cars? That's town public parking. That's also a commercial entrance on the backside of that building, and it's an entrance corridor to the town. Do not believe that it qualifies for residential use.
Well, his original SUP request was approved. And
For all
didn't
upstairs.
do any work. They had to reapply. And he reapplied, and the planning commission has recommended this. So the planning commissions could, to take into consideration parking.
Yeah, and our ordinances, I mean, we have commercial downstairs and the
That's
option.
That's commercial for retail or office use. It's not residential.
We felt like the space.
What if we get the attorney involved in this, because you might know the.
We had that issue. We still have a violation here on the street right now. It's residential, but it's just you need businesses in this town to support the treasury so that we get investments and business uses back, and taxes back.
Just to go back to Molly, what you said, thank you. Our planning commission recommended it, right?
Yeah, planning commission did work with them on this and felt it was an equitable solution. I thought it was a great plan.
Doesn't pass.
Hold on, sir.
Only if it doesn't pass the ordinance is all I have.
This is.
Finish.
All right,
I don't think this is working.
Molly has,
Yeah.
there's no public comment on this part of the meeting.
That's what I reserved my comment to do this.
Planning commission studied this, planning commission recommended that it be approved.
Yes.
There's a motion on the floor, it's been seconded to approve
Yes.
this. We're discussing it now.
I
The old says he wants to wait, but. That's the
think
comment.
going from the full residential in the whole space, we preserve the storefront because it has to be a vibrant entrance to the town. It needed the life that it will get.
We're looking at procedure though, but I thought the SUP had been posted and had a public hearing and had the attorney, kind of looking at that and sort of.
We did all that.
The planning commission has, I will just say
The
this,
attorney would wait.
if the planning commission has gone through the process
to review it and to take the effort and to look at this, I support the effort of the planning.
And we did, what our job was to look at what was going to be best for the town. We need residential space, but we also need the storefront. It was a compromise that helped both. I'm always going to look at it as what's best for the town, and I feel like my colleagues on the planning commission feel the same way. So it was a way for us to have a little more options for people to rent and then have a commercial space that would enliven that corner. That's what we need.
Did you guys have a public hearing?
Yes. Yes, we did have.
But you don't have to have one here. We don't have to have one.
Yes,
we had.
Yeah, we had it.
No, I mean, here, for this?
For this issue.
Oh, I remember that.
Whole thing. So it wouldn't come to you unless we had gone through all the motions we did.
Okay,
Oh, it meets town code.
that's the clerk,
Does it meet town code, town administrator? That's the only question.
It's a special use permit. They asked.
No,
us
but
for-
town order, we enforced it for other people for residential. We enforced making them provide parking. Now you
So there's.
discriminating? That's town parking.
It is.
That's not private.
the town clerk.
Yeah.
I'm talking to town.
Open to the public, open to the public.
I don't think, yeah, that's the problem.
That's the problem, because now you're gonna fill it up with residences that we already have a problem on Valley Street now. But nobody listens.
Well.
Well, I mean, if you could put
So,
something
let me
up.
call for the vote.
Down, yes. Sorry, Molly, and fine. Yes, please. Alex Bissett,
Yes.
Dan Ritzko,
Yes.
Bill Lyson,
See.
okay, Paul Johnson,
Yeah.
Roger Whitley.
Yes.
Okay. What else do we need to do here tonight? Anything?
Well, can I ask a question about this stuff? I mean, when that sign comes off the building, then I like to see a sign that says campus up there. They got a sign that says, oh,
That's not our sign.
whose sign, that's Alamo?
It's Elmore County.
So does that have to do with this hill?
Which.
As far as that, there's a sign that's like. So
On the front window.
how do we cover that?
Oh,
I wouldn't get rid of it.
No, I don't think you're legally allowed to, but when they start building the new apartments in there, they're gonna come in and re-inspect everything.
So that would be up to the property.
It's
owner.
between the county and property.
So it has nothing to do with us.
No.
Okay, that's just.
One thing I want
I don't like seeing that.
one thing I want to clarify to the public out there and to also us as the town council, just because I think what just happened was not what we want to have happen. It's totally fine to get input from the public, but when we're making a council decision, we're not debating the public at that moment, and that's what I thought was not helpful.
I felt like that was hard to deal with.
So again, I think it's totally fine for people to come and share their thoughts, and we welcome people's thoughts. But then I think, Mr. Mayor, you were correct that we will then have our own debate as a council, and there shouldn't be ongoing input from the town at that point. And
Well,
Yeah.
just
It kind of went out the window.
it did, but it wasn't really clear because he asked at the beginning of the meeting, said, do I speak now or at the issue? And we said, wait, so I think we kind of blew it too. We should say.
Is that, he said Caldwell, but he didn't say anything about.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, I don't know if he did nothing.
He said.
He said,
it's fine, again, I think all I'm more saying is, I'm more just suggesting in the future. If we have that, if we want to have a citizen, they can have their fighting loads at that point, and then it turns back to us.
yeah, it's that kind of fuzzy.
Yeah.
May I ask for clarification? So, I think at one point the agenda had, a section on it for public comment.
It does.
And then I was asked,
Public forum.
suggested that there be two areas where the public could speak. So the public forum was right after the consent agenda, so that's the first time the public can speak. And then on, at the very end, citizen comment period. So if you all don't want that, please tell me and I'll.
It's
No,
not
it's
that,
better to speak. I do okay with that.
I would put it at the beginning, it's good about the.
It is at the beginning.
Only, well, it's not real clear, it says forum. I thought that was present. I thought that was presentations, but it should be, well, maybe it was, it should have said like, maybe we should public forum should go first before our presentations. And say, does anybody have anything from the public? And then let's talk about summer development and, you know, I just think the organization of authority wasn't real.
Well, and let me just say this again, just to everybody, I appreciate, go back to the defense of our town member who was here, I do appreciate he had the right, and we want his opinion. But what we don't want to do, once we've heard an opinion, is at that point, that member was out of the meeting, now it's us having a discussion, and that didn't happen, that's what got confused.
Yeah, I'm so confused, so you, made the first motion, I think, Mr. Grant, and then, and, oh. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But it
Okay,
wasn't.
It's okay. I think it was a little bit jumbled. Yeah, it was. It
Okay,
was.
what's going on with the cop? Saw Lincoln here the other day.
Yes, he was.
I met with him for an hour.
There's update on the comprehensive plan.
Yeah, I can give you a little bit of it. I've met with him and I think he's about 90%, but there's some issues with the problems.
Take a loading bar
But,
on here.
Yeah.
This part.
I know.
He's really thorough, real detailed. I think he's got some great maps. He gave me some of the maps. He's got some good pictures. Well, I think we got too many pictures. I think we got too much clutter in there. But I mean, the public, it goes into the detail with the community engagement, like it's.
I think it's a really important thing, and
Yeah,
I think it's a very inclusive thing.
I do too, but I think it could be organized something better, but I think he's done a really good job, especially because he's an outsider. He's learned a lot the last 4 or 5 years, or.
Yeah.
But I think everybody needs to go through it, read it eventually, and see what you think. I think for the most part, I think he's done a really good job, but.
I think you discount him.
Here's one
He's
thing.
kind of a big deal.
Someone asked me the other day.
Well, I worked with him in the beginning. He's come a long ways.
Somebody asked me a question the other day, and it needs to be answered by Lincoln. I have a great these real quick, but
Yeah,
the pictures of local children in there.
I asked him about that. He got.
We-
He did
we
that.
got
Yeah, he got.
Yes.
I think you're
I
probably.
looked at the school, we actually put the newer pictures in, the one from the last session.
Yeah.
We did have.
There's a couple other issues.
There are a couple of other things I'm gonna check on as far as pictures, but that's been there.
I can let this person know. Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, I got a hand from him for, he's worked with all kinds of, well, he's done most of it himself, you know. He's, you know, and I think he's really detailed with it, but I think we could organize it with that.
All right.
Okay, well, those your comments,
Oh, right.
I gotta say, this has been
No,
a labor of love,
and if there's,
and I think it's been really thought out. I mean, this is the extra mile that goes on. I know you guys are wondering why in the world, but I think you'll be impressed. I don't know what.
I was impressed with a lot of this.
Okay, anybody have anything you want to add to any reports, game report session?
I don't know if I gave you a lot, but I can let you know what we're working on. Government service is going to be looking at working with the chief on the snow, the street snow, policy a little bit, looking at that. But we're gonna look at the sidewalks, policy, for snow. We're gonna look at the Caldwell line, not open, but I guess we'll look at some of the, Caldwell, like the LGIP a little bit.
I thought we already discussed that.
Yeah, but I thought we were gonna look at both policies.
And I thought it called the fun LGIP thing, kept kicking the dead horse.
Yeah,
I mean, we should probably own it.
no, but I don't think we got.
I think we can settle that tonight, I think it's time to move on.
But we're gonna look at the profit and loss statement too, or this management thing too. Did you read this over? Did you look at that one?
I've looked at all the emails and everything.
You got the handle on that? This at all? I think it's up to good for the town, so we'll do that.
All right.
Okay, anything else?
Should I bring up a new topic? Sure, that's.
I hear a motion.
Yeah, motions are adjourned.
Second.
Come on.
That's the time.
Right. Meeting adjourned, 8:09. Comment over.
This is how it's gonna go.